Nationers, the year is 2024. This year, we are having another Olympic cycle, this time in Paris, France. Now, obviously, it's going to be hosted in Paris. There will be surrounding areas that, have different events going on. Now, Nationers, this doesn't come at a very cheap price. Every city that hosts the Olympics, there is usually a pretty steep bill when it comes to a giant makeover. That bill is about $10 billion. $10 billion. Now, I've never sniffed $10 billion. I've never seen $10 billion. But I guess we're about to see what it looks like in an Olympic Games makeover for this year's Olympic cycle in Paris. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you guys do enjoy. We're going to be reacting to this video where we see everything that is going on for this year's Olympic makeover. Here we go.
Hosting the next summer 2024 Olympic Games.
Okay, we love to see it.
15 million expected visitors.
I'm not going to be there, but I wish I was. Maybe in the LA one.
The largest event ever held in the country, from beach volleyball at the foot of the Eiffel Tower to
beach volleyball at the foot of the Eiffel Tower. I will be watching that all day.
Horseback riding in the gardens of Versailles. Paris
Love this,
is
by the way.
ready to show off their cultural wealth to the entire world.
Cultural wealth,
then,
interesting.
The city still has a lot of work to do, and many are wondering if everything will be ready in time.
Bro, I'm not gonna. Oh, hello, this is the guy. I really hate when I see videos like this. I'm like, oh my god, I don't think they're gonna be getting this done because I've seen a few churches that have been taking like years to be built. New settlements in my city that are taking years to be built. Do they have a $10 billion budget? No. Are they even close? No. And they take years. Oh my God. I really hope that they get this done. This was like the same thing in Tokyo as well during the COVID year. Oh God. Rio. Oh God. Here we go.
And many are wondering if everything will be ready in time.
I hope so.
I'm Regis, and today we'll look at Paris's insane Olympic preparations.
Very excited for this.
It faces and the impact.
I know Paris doesn't look great on like a social media platform right now.
The bid.
That's been kind of a thing.
In 2017, Paris was competing with Hamburg, Budapest, Rome, and Los Angeles.
Budapest would be really good.
Host the
Budapest would be dope.
Olympics. However, following a public referendum, Hamburg withdrew from the process and was soon followed by Rome, which faced financial
Guess who's up there? Budapest.
After a successful petition against the candidacy, Budapest also withdrew.
Never mind. Hold on.
Leaving
Sorry.
Paris and Los
Angeles.
LA
got the
The two cities were then
LA got the 28 Olympic bid,
on which would become the host in 2024 and which in 2028.
Nice.
Now, Paris was prepared to push strongly against waiting another 4 years. Los Angeles was more open to the idea.
Okay.
This resulted in an agreement in which Los Angeles will host the 2028 games, while the
gives me an opportunity because maybe if I gotta go compete, you know what I'm saying?
Paris 24, Los Angeles 20.
Imagine that. That's like a lottery picking like the NBA.
This is not the city's first time as a host.
That
was actually
in
way
it.
back in 1900 when it hosted the second ever modern Olympics and allowed women to participate for the first time.
Shout out.
The second time was exactly 100
I don't know when that
years
was.
ago, when the Athletes Village was first introduced.
By the way, I love the idea of the Athletes Village. It's really cool.
This time around, they're set to
cool.
achieve multiple firsts yet again.
Love that.
They'll be the first games in history to feature gender-equal athlete selection, as well as the first to be completely carbon neutral. And
what does that mean? What gender equal athlete selection? What does that mean? That's like a very vague term, I feel. Because they also showed this graph, but what does that mean? Portion of women. Oh, okay. And this is actually 50%. It does go up to that. I guess it's on the progression, but it's like weird that they're not. It's like weird that it hasn't been that. Like what? Like were we just not there in 2016? But in 2020, we couldn't even celebrate the 100th year anniversary. I don't know what's going on.
Carbon neutral. And to include a breakdancing discipline.
Oh,
not only that,
that'd be
with
cool.
a budget of $9.5 billion, they're intended to
be
one
Tokyo
of the
is nearly $30 billion.
A little
is nuts.
counterintuitive, but we'll explain
is
how.
Crazy,
While this
by the
budget
way.
has already exceeded the initial estimates by more than $2 billion, it's allegedly still under control. This is evident when compared to the previous game. For example, the 2012 London
this was a great
Olympics
Olympic. I really like this, to be honest.
6,000 budget modifications,
6,000?
increasing the initial cost of $3 billion.
Imagine having 3.5 times more. Basically almost 4x the budget. You know how crazy that is? I mean, like, damn, 5 years from now, we're going to be spending Billions. 6,000. That's nuts. That's crazy.
$11 billion. The current budget, on the other hand, is much more stable, having only required about 300 modifications so far.
Only a fraction of the changes. My God.
One of the reasons for this stable
I love the venues, by the way.
Could be Paris's unique approach to selecting venues for the
event.
event.
The venues.
Almost
sorry.
all of the
I have an
sporting
ad
events will
blocker.
take
If you
place
see
in
anything
either
like frames like that, that's just my ad blocker
temporary
working.
arenas set up in various locations.
Okay,
This
love
strategy
that.
largely avoids unnecessary construction projects, which is also consistent with the vision of carbon neutrality. At the same time, it will allow the city to show the world its most beautiful places. And this is Paris, so there's quite a few of them. This will be most visible in central Paris, where both famous arenas and iconic sites will be
I love
used.
stadiums,
On
man.
one hand, the Parc
Like
des
architecture and
Stadium
stadiums.
the
I don't like this
Stade
type of architecture,
Roland
but I
Garros
love
will
me
host
some
sports like
stadiums. Oh my
football,
God.
boxing, and tennis.
Nice.
On the other hand, several temporary arenas will be set.
Look at that. You got skateboarding, more skateboarding, more skateboarding. A lot of skateboarding going on here.
Set up throughout the city center's
Love to see these
historical
mock-ups though in
sites.
these renders.
Let's take a look at some of the most interesting ones. Firstly,
You know what's
the
interesting? This
fencing
guy's
and
voice
taekwondo
is very
competitions
interesting.
will be held at the Grand Palais.
Fencing
it's a
and
historical site
karate?
and museum complex that dates back to
Taekwondo.
1900 and has previously hosted the World Fencing Championships.
that's
Moving to
pretty
the
cool.
Les Invalides complex, which
Kinda
will hold
cool.
the archery and athletics events in its open outdoor space.
Athletics? Hold on. They're not hosting a track and field there. They're not running a 400 straight. I don't think I've ever heard. I'm a track guy. I mentioned that in the intro. I don't think I've ever heard the term like that. Okay, we'll
Military
continue.
history museums, as well as Napoleon Bonaparte's tomb. Next, the most iconic of all Parisian sites, the
Eiffel Tower. Of course, we gotta love some beach
temporary
volleyball.
arena will
Let
be
me
set
tell
up for
you,
beach volleyball.
I'll be watching
And
some
just
beach
a short
volleyball.
walk
My
away,
sister
the
loves watching
gardens
beach
of the
volleyball.
Trocadero
We're
will
watching
take
some
center
tennis.
stage for the opening ceremony.
Trocadero?
In
What the
addition,
hell is
famous squares such as La
Trocadero?
Concorde will be used as open venues, and even some historical bridges will be incorporated into events like cycling and the triathlon. As we move further from the city
I love the
center into
rowing, by the way. I
surrounding
love the
Ile-de-France
rowing.
region, we'll also be met with many
Ile-de-France.
impressive venues. The colossal Stade de France will host
he
the
says
rugby
these
and
French-
athletics.
Okay, there's the athletics. Oh, I'm assuming it's like out of stadium. If you don't know like the reference of stadium, you guys may know that from like the company that went bankrupt, like the Google company. Stadium is this is a stadium. Outside a stadium is outside the stadium. Excuse me. Oh God. We're fine. Rugby and athletics. This would be really cool. I mean, athletics usually takes about 2 weeks. It's normally like a world champion cycle. The Olympics last like a month, so that'll be fine. That'll be good.
Ceremony. The
That'd
Palace
be cool,
of
though.
Versailles,
And the closing
one of the most
ceremony, that'd be
famous
cool.
sites in the whole of France, will be used as a temporary arena.
Versailles.
Or
What are they
more
gonna use that
specifically,
for?
its famous gardens, where the
They're just gonna use
equestrian
them
and
for
modern pentathlon
that will be
held.
super cool.
North of the
That will
city
be super
center,
cool.
we can even find two brand new permanent venues. The
permanent
first is the
venues.
Porte de la Chapelle Arena, which has been under construction since
Okay, I
2020.
see why these-
While it was
okay.
originally supposed to host the basketball
Oh.
event, its 8,000 person capacity will instead be used for badminton and gymnastics. The other one
Imagine we're like, okay, we're gonna build a basketball stadium here. Oh, one of our 300 budget, we're gonna have to swap that. We're gonna put badminton and freaking what was the other one?
8,000 person
okay, so
capacity
hold
will
on.
instead be used for
Badminton
and gymnastics.
Gymnastics, kind of fire.
The
It
other
actually
one
kind
is
of
the
probably
Paris
fits.
Aquatic
They're both
Center,
like the
which
same.
began construction
Aquatic.
in 2017.
Ooh, I
and
love
will
that
be used
roof,
for
by the way. It
diving,
looks like a
water
stingray.
polo, and artistic swimming. It will
Okay.
have a capacity of 6,000
Diving?
people
Oh, love
during
diving.
the Olympics, but it'll be reduced to around 2,000
Okay.
afterwards.
It's kind of an odd
Moving on
choice,
from
but
Paris,
I guess it
let's
probably makes
take
sense.
a short look at the other venues
Sure,
scattered
probably
across
most
the
people
country.
aren't going to be
Several flagship
watching
cities of
diving
French
all the
football,
time.
such as Lyon, Nice,
Lyon,
and
Nice.
Marseille,
Lyon.
will host the football competitions, as they
football.
already have massive stadiums.
I know I'm
built.
American,
For
I call it
both the Marseille
soccer.
Stadium
That's
with its
okay.
impressive roof,
Ooh, I like
or
that,
the
like-
ultra-modern Lyon
okay.
Stadium will be used.
I like
Speaking of
this. I
Marseille,
like
the
this.
sailing events will be held at the city's marina, which is well known
Oh.
for hosting boat-related activities. Finally, there's
I just
one
love the
venue
Olympics,
that's
man.
just
I love the
completely unique
Olympics. They're
from
so
all of the
much
others.
fun.
That's because
Oh.
it's located on the opposite side of the globe, on the island of Tahiti. Since it's part of French Polynesia,
Imagine telling your family you're going to the Olympics, for whatever event's going to be hosted on this island of Tahiti, and your family's like, "Oh my God, you gotta go to France." No, I'm going into the middle of the freaking Pacific Ocean to go to Tahiti to do.
It technically counts as part of French territory. This means that the organizers
they're doing surfing there.
A surfing event on the amazing local waves. As you
that makes a lot of sense. That's actually pretty cool.
Will be ready for use.
That is pretty cool.
Minor modifications. However, in preparation for the other aspects of the Olympics, Paris is working on a few absolutely massive projects.
Massive.
The new
$10 billion.
Is by far the largest.
I always feel like the Olympic Village kind of goes to waste, to be honest. I love the Olympic Village. I know they're talking about like the 1924 first Olympic Village that was in France. I really just hate, because I like the thought of the village like as it is. The unfortunate part is they just kind of like don't do anything after the Olympics. So it's like, I mean, like maybe convert them to like apartments, you know, and then think about all the sex that all the athletes had in there. That's just.
Or Paris only
I feel like that's what
a number
always
of
happens.
Wooden huts to house the athletes.
The wooden huts
as
is
it
pretty
proved to be a
interesting.
practical
Pretty
solution,
cool.
which also brought athletes together. Cool. Other cities continued with the idea, and the concept evolved significantly over the years.
Yep.
So unlike
Lots
last
of condoms,
time, Paris is taking a much different approach this time around. Instead of building a temporary settlement that would only serve the event, a massive development project has been launched. The new village will cover an area of 70 soccer fields, mostly in Saint-Denis, just north of central Paris.
So they're just going to get rid of that entire area?
14,000 Olympic athletes.
Damn.
Allow them to be only 30 minutes away from the majority of the venues.
Provide them
nice. With all of the necessary facilities.
Love that.
However, there's another specific
the guy
reason
just pointed
for
to all the
selecting
track venues
as the location.
Really
for a long time, this part of the city had quite an infamous reputation, mainly due to high crime rates and socioeconomic issues.
Which I'm sure are still ongoing.
Is to actually improve this situation and benefit the local citizens. After the Olympics, it'll be repurposed for residential use.
I'm telling you. The writing's on the wall. Hire me. I should make this video. I can tell you what's happening next. The guy's going to jump off a cliff with a parachute, and he's going to land in a hot air balloon. And he's going to be on the way down. He's going to be like, well, there's a new Olympic event called the Flying Squirrel Hot Balloon Race. I guarantee you that's what he's going to say.
Offering spaces for 6,000 people.
And that's actually pretty cool.
That's
actually really nice.
It was scheduled to be
I just don't know what it's going to look like.
But there's been no update on its current status so far.
Imagine the Google Earth and it's just flat.
Project that's
nothing's built.
Involves the Seine, the city's main river.
Seine.
But before we talk about that, we really appreciate your feedback in the comments down below.
Make sure to comment. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to this channel if you guys enjoy these reaction clips.
But now,
obviously, I hope I'm passionate enough for you guys that you guys enjoy stuff that I like
as
well.
Boat parade.
So, yeah,
and
boat parade
from both banks.
That sounds
in
pretty
addition,
cool.
It's also expected to host the swimming marathon and a
swimming
portion
marathon?
of the triathlon event.
God
Just like
damn.
it did way back in the 1900
Swimming
Olympics.
marathon.
However, due to rising pollution, swimming in the river has actually been banned since 1923.
Didn't he just say recently? Since recent pollution. Let me be clear. 100 years ago is still pretty recent in intergalactic time frames. Still pretty recent.
The primary cause of this problem is untreated wastewater.
Untreated wastewater.
Of which 1.9 million cubic meters were discharged
imagine
in
that swimming
marathon.
They get a little bit of water in their nose.
Swimming pools. While this is 90% less than it was 20 years ago, the amount of bacteria it produces still makes swimming unsafe. Paris has a very, very old combined
So are they gonna fix that for the Olympics? I don't know. Is that a part of the $10 billion makeover?
As a result,
he's doing a great job. Don't get me wrong. I just poke fun at this,
resulting
the thought
in
of
floods.
this.
In such cases, much of the wastewater needs to be dumped directly into the river to avoid overloading the network, instead of being handled properly. So how the heck do the organizers intend to fix this issue?
Yeah, that's a great question. Oh my God, I had that. I actually had that question.
The answer is a colossal underground rainwater tank located near the Austerlitz train station.
Okay.
Its job will be to collect polluted rainwater from the streets and transport it to a treatment plant downstream. When the bacteria levels reach the safety thresholds, it will be released into the Seine. This way, the rainwater tank will significantly offload the sewer system, allowing the wastewater to enter the...
Okay, not gonna lie, I'm not like a hydro engineer. Not what I thought would have been the case. I would have thought that they did like a dam and then filter, like almost like a dam, and they just sectioned off things, so then you can treat the water. I mean, it's a river, it's gonna constantly move, but it at least helps. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Like, they're gonna slightly dam it, collect like a good chunk of water, and then treat it, and then put it back. I mean, I'm no hydro engineer, but that
the network properly.
I'm a YouTuber, I guess. So
the river untreated. But despite the $1.5 billion price tag, the project is not guaranteed to succeed. While it should
not even
work
guaranteed,
under normal conditions, if the city experiences excessively
rough.
heavy rain during the event, it may not be sufficient. If this were to happen, the swimming competitions may be postponed for a few days, as the organizers don't have a backup plan. Let's...
We just want you to know, if it does rain between the 1st and the 3rd of this month, we're fucked. It just is what it is. We don't have a backup plan. Should we create one? Nah, whatever.
Just hope the weather's on our side, I guess.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
Mother Nature's gonna be like, nah, you did all that polluting, all that water treatment.
Paris also faces two other major problems, both of which have the potential to seriously disrupt the entire Olympics. The first and most important is security.
Yeah, you don't say.
More specifically, potential terrorism. Although the country has been on guard against terrorism since the famous 2015 attacks, this event will be unlike any other
Paris,
in the past, given its massive scale.
Kind
of
wild,
number of visitors is expected to be around 15.3 million, with 600,000 attending just the opening ceremony.
Yeah, that's gotta be like a big security
Paris
thing.
currently has a total population of 2.2 million people.
They're
to ensure
7xing
approximately 20,000 agents will be present every day. Furthermore, 30,000 additional police officers and soldiers will be mobilized on the first day. The traffic will also be severely restricted, as you might imagine, with some metro stations closing for the whole duration, and the airports being shut down on the day of the opening ceremony. This leads us to the second major issue.
That's such a weird thing.
There are concerns about how the city's traffic will handle such a large influx of people, especially given that public transportation is already struggling during rush hours even now.
Just imagine that, like, you're late to your event. That would be really unfortunate. Like, you're a little late to check in. I mean, they're expecting 15 million. I don't know what the attendance was like in, well, Tokyo had very little. Brazil is kind of far from like anywhere major, like USA, North America to Europe. I mean, yeah, this will probably be the biggest Olympics, like, just in general.
In the city's candidacy, authorities were counting on the Great Paris Express to prevent serious congestion. It's a giant project to modernize the city's transportation network with new metro lines. We've covered this project in the past,
just look at Boston. Boston has a great transit,
in the top right corner.
Yeah, he's pointing at the wrong corner. That corner up there
will not be completed on time due to numerous delays during construction. Only the new extensions to the already existing Line 14 will be finished in time for the event. The authorities...
Okay, so we have this whole plan. We're building like 5 additional lines. Like a bunch of additional lines. Okay, so how many might you get done by the time just one. Okay, cool. That sounds good. We don't have a backup plan.
People to use alternative means of transport.
Yeah, Ubers probably go crazy during this time.
Walking and cycling.
Ubers probably go crazy.
Bicycles and cycling lanes were installed in advance. To be honest, this doesn't sound like the best plan in my opinion.
Yeah,
but I guess we'll just have
like
to wait
a million
and see how it
cyclists just going around.
Given all of this information,
probably not great.
How successful?
Probably not great.
Despite all of the issues,
I bet you there's an attack like day one.
Relatively smooth in comparison.
I'm calling
to
it now. I don't want it to happen, but
this is primarily because the city is already quite accustomed to tourism as one of the most visited places
tourism
in the
and
entire
terrorism.
world. The long-term impact will be mostly positive as well, even though the Olympics are a one-time event. The effect will be long-lasting, thanks to the future-oriented focus of the project.
That's actually pretty cool, though. I like it, though. I like that there's a future
of course,
plan.
There's the pure, raw financial benefit it'll bring. While the public contribution to the funding is approximately $2.6 billion of the $9.5 billion budget, the expected generated revenue is roughly $11.7 billion. Even after accounting for any potential taxation or additional costs, This is a
no
substantial
taxation
amount
without
of money. Finally,
representation.
there's the cultural benefit of
Or a
sharing
backup
the city's
plan.
cultural wealth with the rest of the world, while bringing so many people together for a common purpose.
Yes.
To watch the Olympics.
Yes.
So, what are your thoughts? Do you
Yeah,
like the
what are your
approach
guys'
Paris
thoughts
is
on the
taking in preparation?
Olympics,
Let us know
Nationers?
in the comments below.
Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the Paris Olympics. Are you guys going to be watching? Is there a specific event that you guys are going to be watching? Any athletes that you guys want to see? Maybe we might see some world records go down. But I know there's one thing that we will not be seeing, and that is a backup plan.